It's Wednesday, March 4th. Today on Your Morning Atlantic, pain at the pumps. Conflict in the Middle East drives up gas and diesel prices around here. Your top news headlines just ahead.
And International Women's Day will welcome one of the speakers featured at a big breakfast celebration happening in Halifax this week. That's in our second hour.
Plus, a visit to beautiful Hong Kong. We'll get insider info on a destination that's a lot of people's bucket list. That and so much more coming up on the Wednesday edition of Your Morning Atlantic.
Hello, welcome, join us. Brienne Foley's joining us for a couple of days.
Surprise!
We're excited. Latavia is having a bit of time off to celebrate her birthday and all the many people in her family who have a birthday this week. If you have a birthday this week, happy birthday to you.
Lots of March birthdays here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. When is yours again?
August. I'm a Leo.
August, right. And you are May 11th.
May 11th, and you're November 11th.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And I think Donna, who's behind the camera over there, I think she's
March.
She's March.
Yep.
Is it
Yeah,
March
I think this
11th,
weekend.
though, I thought.
It's this, yeah, it's coming up.
Yeah, March 11th,
March
I thought.
11th.
I heard her say that in the newsroom yesterday. In any case, a lot of birthdays around this time of year.
Yep.
Okay, drive in this morning or get any thoughts on that?
Ooh, at least for us, very slushy. I'm glad there weren't many cars in the road, at least when we were driving in, because we had that snowfall. Speaking for the Halifax area, the snowfall overnight, and then it was rainy, so roads were really snow-covered in some spots,
Yeah.
but then slushy.
Reports of rain / freezing rain. Are we hitting anywhere near the target, Brienne, of what you're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much exactly what was predicted, that wintry mix that's been coming through. A couple centimeters of accumulated snowfall, then turning to rain. Of course, we're seeing warmer temperatures, right? So that's why we're seeing that rain coming through
Okay.
a little bit more. Still going to be a little bit snowy over in parts of eastern Nova Scotia and Cape Breton for today. But we are starting to see some of that clear out. So good news ahead.
Okay.
But as we take a look here at Moncton, of course, like you ladies said, those road conditions, that's going to be the biggest concern as we head throughout the morning here, is those slippery, slushy conditions. Maybe get your splash pants out because it's going to be a wet one. So as we take a look here, especially in the Maritimes, we are seeing those warmer temperatures, even up in Edmonton, where we're used to seeing colder temperatures settling in. We are seeing -3 there, -3 in Bathurst. We're looking at -1 in Moncton and Fredericton, 0 degree in Halifax right now, as well as in Sydney. Over in Newfoundland and Labrador, a lot colder up in Labrador. Newfoundland seeing similar temperatures to what we're seeing here in the Maritimes. Wind chill factors are making things feel a little bit colder, but not too cold as we head throughout our morning here. And over in Newfoundland and Labrador, up in Labrador is where it's going to be the coldest. We actually are going to have a weather warning in effect, a yellow alert level for Labrador for tonight into Thursday. So cold warning, it's going to be from -50 to -30. So bundle up tonight into Thursday morning, and that's in the Great Northern Peninsula, central, coastal, and western parts of Labrador as well. Of course, I'll have a full look at that forecast coming up in just a bit. For now, let's head over to Amanda for your first look at news headlines.
Thanks, Brienne, and we'll have more on the impacts of the weather in just a moment. But first, the outbreak of war in the Middle East has resulted in a significant overnight jump in what you'll pay at the pumps. In Nova Scotia, Zone 1, gas jumped by nearly 9 cents a litre overnight. The minimum price now $1.47.7, and diesel increased by 7.6 cents. The minimum price now $1.91.2. In Prince Edward Island, gas jumped by nearly 7 cents a litre. The minimum price now $1.54.2. Diesel on the island now above the $2 mark. It increased by 10.5 cents. The minimum price now $2.03.9. Now in New Brunswick, there was no change in the price of gas. It rests at a maximum price of $1.42 a litre. But diesel, it did increase by 9.6 cents. The maximum price now $2.04.3 a litre. And you may want to give yourself some extra time on the morning commute. Road conditions before the sun's up are messy. Overnight snow turned into rain, then freezing rain. That's resulted in pooling in some places, as well as slushy or icy conditions. This just in, all schools in the Halifax Regional Centre for Education will have a delayed opening by 2 hours today due to road conditions. We'll have more details on any school impacts coming up, and Brianne will have the latest look at the forecast after our next break. Hundreds of people demonstrated at Province House in Halifax Tuesday, upset with budget cuts and what they see as an erosion of Indigenous rights. And as CTV's Jesse Thomas reports, there seems to be a growing divide between environmental concerns and proposed energy and mining projects.
Granville Street was closed to traffic as protesters demonstrated outside the provincial legislature, calling on the PC government to rethink its push to develop natural resources like onshore gas and mining for certain critical minerals, and to include Mi'kmaq in the process.
And we have to start working together. That's the only thing that's going to save us, is working together, shoulder to shoulder with all our neighbors.
Premier Tim Houston was absent from his seat in Province House today while attending a mining conference in Toronto, where he's talking directly to industry to encourage development here. The Houston government says there's a demand for critical minerals, and mining can help drive the economy by tapping into those natural resources.
We know we have to grow our economy here in Nova Scotia, and we need to do that by using our resources.
Maloney spoke to the crowd, sending a message to the mining industry saying if the Mi'kmaq aren't at the table and consulted, then industry isn't welcome.
Nothing happens in Nova Scotia without the will of the people and Mi'kmaq rights being met.
Indigenous and El-New Affairs Minister Leah Martin didn't meet with protesters outside, but did say her government is meeting with Mi'kmaq leaders and meeting consultation requirements.
And it's a requirement. It's something that we take very, very, very seriously. And we will always uphold our duty to consult.
The province spent $300,000 in this year's budget to help develop the mining sector and gave Invest Nova Scotia $1.5 million to encourage development of natural resources like mining and forestry work. Jesse Thomas, CTV News, Halifax.
Thank you, Jesse. An invasive species of zebra mussel has started to show up in parts of the St. John River. The mussels have been discovered in multiple sections of the river as far south as Belle Isle Bay. Once the mussels are established in the waterway, experts say they can hurt the environment and infrastructure. A research scientist with the Canadian River Institute at UNB says early action is key.
Once they're established, there's very little that can be done, especially in an open system. When they are on infrastructure, if it's a closed system, there is chemical treatment, but obviously we've got a 673-kilometer-long river. We're not going to dump chemicals into the river, and then you can't physically pick zebra mussels off of every rock in the river.
New Brunswickers are advised to check their boats and docks regularly for zebra mussels. Finally, a sign of the season, New Brunswick anglers have a little less than 2 weeks to get their fishing shacks off the province's frozen waterways. March 15th is the deadline this year. Officials say it's an effort to help prevent garbage and other debris from ending up in the water as the temperatures rise. That said, anglers can still head onto the ice and cast a line until the end of the month. But yeah, when it comes to those shacks, they got to go by March 15th in New Brunswick. That's a sign that spring's around the corner.
Yeah, it really is. Move the shacks. It's shack moving time.
Shack moving time.
Okay, I just have to share that I'm very excited about the chats today.
Okay, all right.
Beginning with this one, all right? And you're going to appreciate this because you lived in Hong Kong. For the first time, a subway ride is extra special for dogs. For 1 day only, Hong Kong subway system allowed dog owners to bring their pets for a ride. Organizers called it a dog-a-thon, and they aimed at promoting pet inclusivity. Now, people aren't even allowed to eat or drink on the subway in Hong Kong, so letting dogs ride the train was a big deal. Get this, Bria, the final stop of the event was at Disneyland Park, one of the best subway stops in Hong Kong. If you've been to Hong Kong, you know that particular train has kind of like little windows with Disney paraphernalia in it, stuff like that. It's really, really cool. Because Brian lived in Hong Kong.
Yes.
Yes.
I've been there once, so, you know, I'm an expert.
You are an expert.
Oh my gosh. And now we have the contest too, so our viewers could be.
Exactly.
If Hong Kong isn't on your bucket list, It should be.
It really should be.
Yeah, it really should be. It's one of the most incredible cities I've ever been to. Loved it from the moment I stepped foot in Hong Kong. There's so much to do, so much to see. The people are wonderful. And you can ride the subway to Disney World.
Yeah, you can. And go to Hong Kong Disney. It's just wonderful. It's really manageable. I didn't find it that expensive.
Yep.
And the subway ride, even if you don't go, just take the subway there and turn around and come back. It's really cool.
It's a cool adventure.
Yeah. Sure. Anyway, we'll go to our website and you can enter the contest. But we'll be talking about it a little bit this morning too.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay, planning for trips now. All right, still ahead. We have a look at your national and international news headlines on this Wednesday morning. And Brienne will have her first full look at the forecast, including the details on when this messy system is going to be fully out of the region. Here is a live look at the library in Truro, Nova Scotia. Some beautiful lights there this morning. The forecast is up next.
Good morning, Halifax. It is 6:13, 6:43 if you are in Newfoundland and parts of Labrador. And yes, as we take a look here at the Armdale roundabout, a little bit of slick conditions out there, and that's pretty much what we're going to see across the board for this morning. So if you do have to head out and about, just know that your commute is going to be a little bit messy, especially in Nova Scotia. As we take a look here at current temperatures, not a cold start to the day, which is a nice reprieve for this time of year. Of course, we're seeing a little bit cooler conditions up in northern parts of New Brunswick, but we are seeing those above freezing numbers for most of the coastline in Nova Scotia. Colder, of course, over in Labrador, and those warmer temperatures hanging around in Newfoundland. Now, taking a look here at our wind chill factors, things feeling a couple degrees colder than what those numbers are saying, but not by much for the Maritimes. Over in Newfoundland and Labrador, we are going to see things cool down, of course, into Labrador as we head throughout the morning. We are still seeing not a whole lot of those wind chill factors, but we are going to see cooler conditions, like I said, up in Labrador, especially in the Nain area, Happy Valley, Goose Bay. And we will start to see that kind of go into the peninsula as well as we head later on into Wednesday. Tonight, however, we do have a yellow alert cold warning in effect for Labrador. So like I said, that great northern peninsula, the central, coastal, and western portions of Labrador, we could see coldest wind chills from -50 to -30. So that's going to be tonight into Thursday morning. Bundle up if you do have to be out in the elements overnight. Now, watching this system come through, we are going to continue to see a little bit of those messy conditions hanging around through southern parts of New Brunswick and the majority of Nova Scotia throughout the course of this morning. Of course, things do start to clear out and head over into Newfoundland and Labrador as of around that noon hour. We are going to see a little bit of those flurries hanging around for parts of Cape Breton for today before things clear up. Mostly a mix of sun and cloud for the afternoon into the evening. And then we'll see some more snow coming through in northern parts of New Brunswick into Thursday morning. A little bit of a system hanging around also throughout the course of tomorrow. So just a few scattered flurries, however, and again, mostly rain for the majority of Nova Scotia throughout the course of today into tomorrow, and just a little bit of trace amounts of rain over in the St. John's area. As for snow, the most accumulation of snow is going to be over in eastern parts of Nova Scotia and into Cape Breton Island. So that is something that we are going to continue to monitor. Again, throughout the course of this morning, it's going to be slushy, it's going to be wet, it's going to be a wintry mix. So do give yourself lots of time if you have to head out on the road. But time now to check in with Amanda for your look at national and international headlines.
Thank you, Brienne. As the war in the Middle East escalates, nearly 100,000 Canadians are in the region impacted by the conflict. And Ottawa has requested Oman for its airspace, if necessary, to bring those who are stranded home.
I was on the phone with foreign ministers of Gulf countries and Middle East countries all weekend, including Oman this morning, who they still have, or had at the time of my conversation with the foreign minister, have airspace that is still viable.
The Foreign Affairs Minister says Canada is making sure supports are available. The U.S. is securing military aircraft and charter flights for its citizens. Some international tourists stranded in the Middle East have started flying home on limited repatriation flights as hundreds of thousands race to get out. And with more on the war on Iran, here is ABC's Marcus Moore.
Overnight, a wave of new attacks in the Middle East as U.S. Central Command reveals more than 50,000 U.S. troops are now in the region, up from 35,000 previously reported. And now we're seeing the faces of some of the first American casualties of this war in Iran. Captain Cody Cork, Sergeant First Class Nicola Moore, Sergeant First Class Noah Tegens, and Sergeant Declan Cody, all from an Army Reserve unit in Des Moines, Iowa. They were among 6 Americans killed after an Iranian drone hit a tactical operations center in Kuwait. The U.S. commander in the Middle East now sharing in-depth details about the ongoing U.S. operations.
Many of you may remember the shock and awe strikes of 2003. The first 24 hours of this operation were nearly double the scale. We've already struck nearly 2,000 targets with more than 2,000 munitions.
Iran now escalating attacks on American interests in the region. An Iranian drone slamming into the U.S. consulate in Dubai. The U.S. Embassy in Jordan also targeted. An Iranian missile hitting the largest U.S. base in the Middle East in Qatar. No injuries reported. Now questions are being raised about the amount of artillery on both sides of the conflict. Military officials say it takes 2 or 3 interceptors to shoot down one ballistic missile. And experts predict Iran has a stockpile of more than 2,000. That's fueling concern that Iran's supply of cheap drones could exhaust the multi-million-dollar interceptor systems of the U.S. and its allies.
Multiple reports, including from the Wall Street Journal, say the Trump administration is now considering whether to support groups inside Iran who are willing to take up arms and topple the regime. Those groups could potentially include the Iranian Kurds. Marcus Moore, ABC News, Doha.
And today, Prime Minister Mark Carney continues his trade mission in Australia. Yesterday, Carney took questions about Canada's position on Iran and says his support for U.S. military strikes come with regret. CTV's Abigail Beeman is in Australia with more.
Good morning, Prime Minister. How are you?
Canada's Prime Minister down under in his first media availability a week into his Indo-Pacific trip, asked about the U.S. and Israel's strikes in Iran.
Prima facie, it appears that these actions are inconsistent with international law.
Mark Carney said Canada supported the U.S.'s initial strike.
We supported that aspect. That is not a blank check.
And Canada backs efforts to stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, a position he takes with regret, given this reality.
The nuclear bomb is a massive threat. It would be the biggest threat.
With a reminder international law binds, Carney called for a de-escalation and said Canada can help in that process. It was also the first time Carney weighed in since a government official suggested India was no longer involved in foreign interference in Canada.
I would not use those words. Okay.
He says the official involved won't face consequences and wouldn't explicitly say whether he believed India is still actively interfering.
There are aspects of those briefings that I can't share in public, and I'm not going to betray them. I will tell you that there is progress on these issues.
Carney said a wide range of countries will continue to try and interfere from time to time, and Canada will continue to call them out when it happens. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Sydney.
Thank you, Abigail. A quick break here. When we return, we'll have your top business headlines and your must-see moment from TSN. Your Morning Atlantic. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Move Mornings with Aaron and Peter. Weekday mornings on Move 100. The most fun in the morning. And home of the $1,000 minute. Only on Move 100 Halifax.
Welcome back. It is now 6:24 and time to check in with our friends at TSN Sports Center for today's must-see moment.
Hello there, Kara Wagland in the Sports Center newsroom with your must-see moment from Tuesday. And for it, we take you to the ice. We got a little NCAA women's hockey. And check out this save from UConn's Tia Chan. Diving in desperation, gets a glove on what looked like a sure goal for Holy Cross. one of her 27 saves on the night as she earns the must-see moment from Tuesday. And coming up today on TSN, we've got full coverage of the 2026 Montana's Brier. It all gets underway at 1 p.m. Eastern on TSN 1 and 5. That's all from SportsCenter. Have a great day.
This TSN must-see moment brought to you by J.R. Rahe's Furniture and Appliances.
Well, now that we've gotten our sports moment, let's head over to our business partners at BNN.
Those concerns sent the TSX tumbling this morning. At one point, it was down about 1,400 points. Gold and silver stocks sold off, dragging the TSX down. But the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ were also in the red. Now, the TSX did recover later in the day. Oil continued to gain since the attacks on Iran have paralyzed the movement of oil in the Middle East. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar down a fraction to 73.15. West Texas Intermediate up over $3 to 74.56. Western Canadian Select up almost $5 to 57.72. And the TSX ended the day down 756 points. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Taking a look here at our 3-day forecast for New Brunswick. Some messy conditions hanging around through the course of this morning before things clear out. We're looking at a high of 6 degrees today. And into Thursday, we could see some scattered flurries in the eastern and northern portions of the province. And then we're seeing a significant cool down overnight into the early hours of Friday morning. Those conditions will stay a little bit colder, but that sun does pop through and we will see a high of -3 on Friday. Into Nova Scotia, much of the same. Those wintry conditions continuing throughout Wednesday before we head into clearer skies. Into Thursday, could see a chance of flurries for parts of the region, and then that significant cool down entering into early Friday morning. We will see mostly sunny conditions as well. Over on Prince Edward Island, a bit of those flurries hanging around for the course of this morning. We're going to see significant cool down into Thursday, some scattered flurries ahead there before a little bit of a warm up Friday.
Coming up this half hour, a Move Morning Chat question meant for Amanda. What's a household chore that you love to do? Well, we want to know in about 15 minutes on Your Morning Atlantic.
Now, let's be clear. I don't particularly love household chores. Sign me up. Sometimes it's nice to do a bit of deep cleaning. Especially around the springtime.
The deep clean always feels so good. I hate the actual process of it, but the after effects, I absolutely adore.
I actually love cleaning.
Yeah. I was going to say, I feel like this is a question meant for Crystal.
Yeah, I do love cleaning. I've got, as I've said a million times, I bought these knee pads when Decathlon had dance stuff. So I've got these dance knee pads. I've got the tunes in. Nobody bugs you. The whole time you're cleaning, it's just like you and the mess. And then you get to have the joy of oh, it looks so beautiful after.
Yeah. In the zone.
But this is a late-breaking change in my life. As a youngster, I did not like cleaning.
Fair.
In university, I was quite messy.
Yeah.
I would just let those dishes pile up in the sink till they literally had stuff growing in them.
Crystal Garrett.
That doesn't seem like you at all.
It doesn't, does it?
No.
Confessions.
I was busy with the track and all this and the other thing. I know.
You were a student athlete, so
exactly.
we'll give you a break.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll say that. I don't know. I think I would just... Anyway, I like it now. I really do.
Amazing. Yeah. I like doing laundry. I hate folding laundry, but I like doing laundry.
Putting it away.
Yeah.
Oh, putting it away.
Putting it away.
Putting it away.
Put it away.
Now, it's a regular school day for students in Fredericton and across New Brunswick, but we are seeing some school closures due to road conditions in Nova Scotia. I'll have those details, coming up. But the Zamboni driver, nothing stopping that person this morning.
No. Although it is going to be a little bit milder in Fredericton today, so maybe not the best day to go skating.
He loves to clean.
He does love to clean.
Yeah.
There you go.
Or she. Whoever's driving that thing. They.
The human on that. Unless it's not run by a human, maybe.
I think it is.
But of course, like Amanda said, we are going to see some messy conditions to start our day, so do take that into consideration, especially in Nova Scotia. So most of the system has cleared out of New Brunswick, but still impacting into Prince Edward Island, as well as into Nova Scotia. And that's going to be heading over into Newfoundland and Labrador a little bit later this morning as well. We are seeing warmer conditions across Nova Scotia, as well as along the southern portion of New Brunswick, but a little bit cooler conditions starting to settle in up in Edmundston. Now, not a whole lot of wind chill factors to take into consideration as we head throughout our day today in the Maritimes. However, if we head over to Newfoundland and Labrador, there is a cold air mass that's going to be pushing into Labrador and bringing with it westerly winds. So it is going to feel a lot colder than what those numbers are saying over in Labrador. So take that into consideration if you do have to get out and about. And that brings us to our yellow alert for Wednesday night into Thursday morning. And yes, that is the wind chill factors. So we're going to feel things like -50 to -30 through parts of Labrador. So just take that into consideration if you do have to be out and about tonight into the early hours of Thursday morning. That cold air mass is going to be impacting into the region. But I'll have more on the weather coming up in just a bit. For now, let's head over to Amanda for a look at news.
Thanks, Brianne. And you may want to give yourself some extra time on the morning commute. Snowplows and salt trucks are out, but road conditions are messy this morning. Overnight snow turned into rain, then freezing rain. That has resulted in pooling in some places, as well as very slushy or icy conditions. Now, as for impacts in Nova Scotia, classes are canceled or schools have a 2-hour delayed opening, depending on where you are. Some schools in PEI are on a 1-hour delay, but there are no impacts for schools in New Brunswick. You can find more details on our website, ctvnewsatlantic.ca. And Brian will have the latest look at the forecast after our next break. The outbreak of war in the Middle East has resulted in a significant overnight jump in what you'll pay at the pumps around here. In Nova Scotia Zone 1, gas jumped by nearly 9 cents a litre. The minimum price now $1.47.7. And diesel increased by 7.6 cents. The minimum price now $1.91.2. In Prince Edward Island, gas jumped by nearly 7 cents a litre. The minimum price now $1.54.2. Diesel on the island also now above the $2 mark again. It increased by 10.5 cents. The minimum price now $2.03.9. And in New Brunswick, no change in the price of gas. It rests at $1.42 a litre. But diesel, it increased by 9.6 cents. The maximum price now $2.04.3. Police in St. John have arrested a 69-year-old man in connection with the sexual assault of 15 people at a long-term care facility. The investigation began back in January. At the time, police told CTV News a suspect was known to them and the individual was not an employee or a resident of the facility. The accused has been released on conditions and will appear in court at the end of May. The police chief described the investigation as challenging and complex, given the vulnerability of the alleged victims. New Brunswick's premier is hoping to steer the province back to the future, when mining was a large contributor to the GDP. CTV's Laura Brown has more.
Susan Holt is confident the Sisson tungsten mine will be realized, but she's not quite as sure there's a way to speed it up.
I can't tell you right now that they're guaranteed is, but we are going to look for every opportunity to see that economic impact quickly.
The premier met with the company behind the mine, Northcliffe Resources, who said they're on track to finish an updated feasibility study in early summer. Then they'll have to work on meeting the province's 40 environmental impact conditions, which will likely take a year, says Holt.
So the plan from sort of mid-2026 through to mid-2027 is to get that engineering design done, get those conditions met, and do the work on those.
Mid to late 2027, it's expected Northcliffe will make their final investment decision. Hope for some, concern for others.
They should not be willing to sacrifice entire watersheds for a mining operation.
Kuhn wonders why, with a $1.3 billion deficit and talk of closing schools or reducing the civil service, that's being considered. Holt maintains she's trying to find investment.
We've got to grow the economy, and I'm here selling New Brunswick.
Laura Brown, CTV News, Fredericton.
Small businesses in our region got a boost from the federal government to help grow AI projects. So the feds have earmarked $8.5 million for 40 projects in Atlantic Canada. The money will be used for AI-powered sales tools, smart automation, and digital skills training.
The gap between discovery and deployment is what we're closing, and it doesn't just happen in Toronto or Montreal or Edmonton, where the national institutes are happening. It's happening in Vancouver, and it's happening here. This hub is very special. Halifax is absolutely...
Ottawa is spending $200 million over 5 years to foster artificial intelligence innovation across the country. And elsewhere in the country, we are officially 99 days away from the FIFA World Cup, with preparations continuing in Toronto and Vancouver. Organizers in both Canadian host cities say they're finalizing preparations for the event. So Toronto will host 6 matches, starting with Canada's first match on June 12th, and Vancouver will host 7, and that will begin on June 13th. Work on hosting the World Cup has been underway for years, of course, with various levels of government contributing millions of dollars to the cause. Almost sounds like you need millions of dollars just to get a ticket.
Wouldn't hurt.
Wouldn't hurt. I would love to see Portugal, because it is going to be Cristiano Ronaldo's last World Cup.
Whoa. Oh, wow.
So, you know, I would love to see, just to me, he's the epitome of soccer.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Growing up, he was always my best friend, Vicky. She was obsessed with Cristiano Ronaldo. He was all over her wall, you know, like back in the day in the 90s when you put up
Beckham.
Wow. So, and I have seen Beckham play. I saw Beckham play for LA Galaxy when he came to MLS in Toronto. So I've seen Beckham. So now I just need to see Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, it'd be cool to get to see a living legend while they're still in the game.
Right.
Okay. Well, that would be. You know what? Let's give people an opportunity to do something incredible, too. You can go to Hong Kong. Remember, we just showed the dogs on the subway there. Well, you can enter for your chance to win a trip for 2, courtesy of the Hong Kong Tourism Board. The prize includes round-trip flights on Cathay Pacific, 4 luxurious nights at the Park Lane, Hong Kong. I know, $1,000 spending money, you could do some damage, and a 3-day pass granting access to more than 20 amazing attractions. So all you have to do to enter is go to our website, ctvatlantic.ca. If you go up at the top, you'll see a link to the contest, or you can use that QR code as a shortcut. But either way, enter. Good luck, and you know what? Go ahead and book a trip.
And you only need to bring $100 to Stanley Market, and I guarantee you will walk away with so much stuff. Stanley Market is one of my favorite things. You get to basically take a double-decker bus out, and it's kind of like you're on the night bus, because like you hit trees going through, and you're like on the edge of a cliff. It's the best experience ever.
I love it. So if you win the contest or you book a trip,
just call me, and you know, we'll figure it out. We'll do some trip planning for you.
That sounds amazing. Okay, still ahead, we're going to take a trip to Hollywood. We'll have your entertainment headlines, but coming up next, it's the Move Morning Chat. It's almost spring cleaning season. But today we want to know, what is a household chore you love to do? Maybe it's getting the groceries. That conversation's up next.
Good morning. It is 6:44, 7:14 if you're in Newfoundland and parts of Labrador. And yes, it looks like it's a little bit more of a calm after the storm there in Yarmouth. We are still seeing some wintry mix hanging around through parts of Nova Scotia, but we are starting to see that kind of clear out as the system moves fairly quickly through our region. That doesn't mean that you didn't wake up to messy road conditions, though. As we take a look here at our current temperatures, warmer temperatures through most of Nova Scotia. We are seeing a little bit cooler temperatures up in northern parts of New Brunswick, but pretty seasonal type temperatures for the Maritimes as well as into Newfoundland. Labrador, a whole other story, though. A little bit colder up there. There is a cold mass coming through, so it's going to continue to be colder conditions. We do actually have a couple of warnings in effect for Labrador, which we'll get to in just a few minutes. Wind chill factors aren't really going to be that much of a concern today for the Maritimes, but they will be a concern over in Labrador. So we are seeing that frostbite could occur within 15 minutes up in Nain, and that's going to be the continuous theme Wednesday night into Thursday morning in the greater northern peninsula, central and coastal, as well as western parts of Labrador. We're seeing those temperatures between -50 and -30. So do take that into consideration if you do have to be outside tonight into the early hours of tomorrow morning, as we're seeing it's impacting into Labrador City as well. Now, watching this system, like I said, we are starting to see it clear out, mostly rain in western parts of Nova Scotia, and that's going to continue throughout the majority of the morning. We are going to see a little bit of that wintry mix hanging around for Prince Edward Island, eastern Nova Scotia, and into Cape Breton for the course of the early afternoon before it starts to clear out completely, hanging out in Newfoundland and Labrador. And then we are going to see a little remnants up top in northern parts of New Brunswick, and that's going to head into the evening as well. Most of the conditions in our region is going to see cloudy skies overnight. Now, we will have some trace amounts, a little bit more of an accumulation of snow up in Edmundston, as well as, like I said, over in the eastern parts of Nova Scotia, Cape Breton, as well as into Prince Edward Island. And then we are going to see a little bit more of that buildup of snow through Newfoundland for tonight. So we will see warmer temperatures coming through, which is a nice change above seasonal temperatures for the majority of today, but those flurries are going to hang around through the course of this morning, making things a little bit wet and slippery out there. We are going to see them hang on a little bit more into eastern parts of Nova Scotia and to Cape Breton as well. And then we're seeing mostly rain, especially along the coastline for western parts of Nova Scotia. Over in Newfoundland and Labrador, again, colder temperatures, those flurries moving in a little bit later this afternoon, and those will hang out for the majority of today in Newfoundland. So it's probably a good day to stay inside and clean, and that brings us to our Move Morning Chat.
It's the Wednesday edition of the Move Morning Chat with our friends Aaron and Peter in radio. And today we're talking about household chores. Not the ones you dislike, but the ones that you love to do. Maybe you always put up your hand in the family and say, I want to do that chore. I love it. I find it satisfying. Aaron and Peter, why are we talking about household chores this morning?
Well, there's some new data out with household chores and kind of showing the clear split between who does which task at home and also who enjoys these tasks. So for men, typically, men are more likely to say, I don't mind taking out the garbage. I don't mind doing the yard work, while women are more likely to enjoy tidying up around the house, maybe doing dusting, doing the laundry. So we want to know how true that is. When it comes to household chores, I genuinely love grocery shopping. Latavia, I know you're not going to agree with me on this one. I know that about you, but I love grocery shopping. I am the person that will go to the grocery store every single day just to get a thing or two because it's fun. I love taking my time and going up and down the aisles and seeing what's new, even though I know I'm only there for lettuce. I love grocery shopping. It is like a fun little task for me each day.
That sounds like my nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I knew you would say that.
Let me give you one specific chore that I like to do, and it only happens basically once a year. I mean, there are other chores as well, but we have a wood stove, and so you get wood delivered, and then you have to pile it up. And then it's also my job to, after I pile it, make sure that the wood stove is going all through the winter, and there's always wood there for someone else to stick into the stove. But the actual act of piling up the wood when it arrives in my driveway, it's a whole thing. I suppose you could probably do a couple of cords of wood in a day if you had all day, but who has all day? So it's usually a 3 or 4 day thing. And you find it, you pile it just right, you know it's there, you're going to use it all winter. I actually will drive around and admire other people's wood pile. Ooh, there's a nice pile of wood right there. Look what they did with that. So yes, it's very specific. A chore that I love to do is piling up the wood and then using it all winter long.
That's fair.
Wow. Okay, Latavia.
I don't know, man. I don't really have one. You go first, and I'll try to think of something.
Okay, all right. One thing I love to do is I like to do deep cleaning, especially when it comes to deep cleaning large appliances you don't typically think of, like the dishwasher every few months, and also our washing machine. I really love to get like the good cleaning chemicals out, having a couple of hours, because I find it so satisfying to just get rid of all that dirt and all that grime. And then when I am doing my dishes or doing some laundry, it does clean everything a lot better. I swear sometimes it's not just the detergent, it's the actual machine that you need to clean. I just love having the time to be able to do it. It's so nice.
Okay, I have two. Doing laundry, because if Kyle does the laundry, usually my clothes are not the same color they went in as, especially lately. Mine would be organizing the boys' drawers. Because they have so much clothes constantly in these drawers, they can barely close. So it's really nice to go through them like once a month and like really kind of dig through and figure out what they don't need anymore, what they're gonna need next. So I think that's the only one I like. Other than that, I don't like to do chores. No.
Okay.
Just a big no. I was going to say we could all live together because this would be very convenient.
True.
We're throwing this to our viewers. Maybe you agree with us. Maybe you don't. We would love to hear your opinion, especially if you haven't texted us yet. What household chore do you actually enjoy doing? And explain to us why. Send us a text at 10400 and we will share your answers a little later.
The #1 morning show in Halifax. Turk, Megan, and Amateur Alex. And home to the biggest artists. Halifax's #1 hit music station. 101.3 Virgin Radio.
Welcome back. It is 6:55, and while you can win a trip to Hong Kong, we are going to take you on a free trip to Hollywood.
Well, it's been too long since we've seen each other.
Ringo Starr is coming out with a new album titled Long, Long Road. It's the 85-year-old former Beatles' second album with T-Bone Burnett. It's set for release on April 24th and will feature guest appearances by the likes of Sheryl Crow and St. Vincent, among others.
Power is a curious thing.
Game of Thrones is getting a big screen adaptation. A movie set in the world of Westeros is now in the works at Warner Brothers. No word yet on what the story is about or when the movie could come out.
There's a snake!
After making more than $1 billion in theaters, Zootopia 2 is now headed to streaming. The animated family film hits Disney Plus on March 11th. Disney is the parent company of ABC News. And happy birthday to Everybody Loves Raymond star Patricia Heaton. She turned 67 today. And that's what's happening in Hollywood. Melissa Dawn, ABC News.
Happening. Sorry. Crystal's just got to get some coffee. All right. Camera's right there. All right, happening now. You may want to give yourself some extra time on the morning commute. Snow plows and salt trucks are out, but road conditions are very messy this morning. We'll have those details coming up. Plus, gas prices and diesel prices are up this morning, and we'll tell you about a local coffee shop in Cape Breton. Those details coming up next. We'll be right back. It's Wednesday, March 4th. Today on Your Morning Atlantic, pain at the pumps. Conflict in the Middle East drives up gas and diesel prices around here. Your top news headlines just ahead.
And celebrating International Women's Day. We'll get the details on an upcoming breakfast event that's putting female business leaders in the spotlight. A conversation in about 15 minutes on the Wednesday edition of Your Morning Atlantic.
Hey, good morning, Atlantic Canada. It is cusping on 7:01, 7:31 if you're in Newfoundland and parts of Labrador. And if you had to be on the roads at the same time as us this morning, well, it was a little messy. My commute's not too bad, but you ladies had a little bit of a slippery
We
ride
were further away from the station. It was odd.
Yes,
it was snow, but there were grooves because it had been plowed in a certain way, and the rain, and then it was sort of at a temperature where the rain was switching over to freezing rain.
Yeah.
It was messy.
Yeah. Messy and very slushy, and I found a lot of areas. There was a lot of pooling on the roads as well, so it was really coming up quick, and surprisingly, more traffic than I expected at that time as well. So yeah, if there's somewhere you need to be this morning, certainly give yourself a bit of extra time. Not bad advice, but we are seeing a number of schools in Nova Scotia and PEI having a delayed opening today because of road conditions, which is good, gives crews some extra time to really clear them, and hopefully not as many people on the roads too.
Yeah, speaking of extra time, give yourself that if you do have to head out this morning.
At least it's not school closures, right? It's
Yes.
just a delayed start, but the kiddos get to go back to class still.
Yeah, some do have full closure, but yeah, it's a mixture. The details are on our website, though, very specific.
Now, here's one of my favorite places, St. John's. A little cloudy today.
A little cloudy today, and they're going to see the system that's pushing through our region a little bit later throughout the course of this morning. So that's why we're seeing a little heavier cloud cover right over there. Now, as we take a look at our current temperatures in St. John's, -2 right now, a little bit warmer in St. Pierre, a little bit cooler up in Gander, and then, of course, up in Labrador, we're seeing much cooler temperatures. There is a cold air mass that is going to be settling into that region, coming across from western parts of Canada. So that's going to be settling into Labrador a little bit later today into Thursday. As we take a look here at our wind chill factors, not a whole lot colder than what the numbers are saying for the Maritimes for today. We are going to see those colder temperatures again settling up in Labrador, however, especially tonight into Thursday. So we do have a yellow alert level of cold warning in effect issued by Environment Canada. So that is going to be tonight into Thursday, like I said, greater northern peninsula, central, coastal, and western parts of Labrador, and we could see wind chills between -50 and -30. So just do take that into consideration if you do have to get out and about for tonight into the early hours of Thursday morning. And if you are on the roads today, give yourself that extra time, because those roads are going to continue to be slick and slippery as we have some weather hanging around throughout the course of the morning through most of Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island. But I will have a full look at that forecast coming up in just a bit. For now, let's head over to Amanda.
Thanks, Brianne, and that's where we begin. You may want to give yourself some extra time on the morning commute. Snowplows and salt trucks are out, but road conditions are messy this morning. Overnight snow turned into rain, and then freezing rain in parts of Halifax. That's resulted in pooling in places as well as slushy or icy conditions. As for impacts in Nova Scotia, classes are canceled or schools have a 2-hour delayed opening. Some schools in PEI are on a 1-hour delay. However, there are no school impacts in New Brunswick. You can find exact details on our website, ctvnewsatlantic.ca, and Brianne will have the latest look at the forecast after our next break. The outbreak of war in the Middle East has resulted in a significant overnight jump in what you'll pay at the pumps. In Nova Scotia's Zone 1, the Halifax area, gas jumped by nearly 9 cents a litre overnight. The minimum price now $1.47.7. Diesel increased by 7.6 cents. The minimum price $1.91.2. In PEI, gas jumped by nearly 7 cents a litre. The minimum price $1.54.2. Diesel on the island now above the $2 mark. It increased by 10.5 cents. The minimum price now $2.03.9. And in New Brunswick, no change in the price of gas. It rests at $1.42 a litre, but diesel, it did increase by 9.6 cents. The maximum price now $2.04.3 a litre. 3 young people are facing charges in connection with an assault in New Waterford Friday night. Police were called to reports of 3 youth damaging the door to a residence on Smith Street. They found a 44-year-old man with an injured hand who'd had an altercation with one of the 3. Police found them inside a nearby home. 2 14-year-olds and a 15-year-old will face a judge on a number of charges in April. A youth was arrested after an assault at a Halifax school Tuesday morning. It happened at St. Agnes Junior High in the West End. Police say a youth was assaulted by another youth with a pair of scissors. The victim was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, and the investigation is ongoing. Police in St. John have arrested a 69-year-old man in connection with the sexual assault of 15 people at a long-term care facility. The investigation began back in January. At the time, police told CTV News a suspect was known to them and the individual was not an employee or a resident of the facility. The accused has been released on conditions and will appear in court at the end of May. The police chief described the investigation as challenging and complex given the vulnerability of the alleged victims. Nova Scotia RCMP are once again targeting non-government cannabis dispensaries. RCMP say they inspected 5 storefronts and seized illegal cannabis. The dispensaries are located on First Nations across the province. Tickets were handed out and cannabis products deemed illegal by the province were seized Tuesday. Nova Scotia has urged police and peace officers to carry out inspections on non-government cannabis stores. Now to a Cape Breton coffee connoisseur who started out by roasting his beans on a barbecue. But now, as CTV's Ryan McDonald shows us, he's slinging cups of joe in downtown Sydney.
I started roasting in a stainless steel drum roaster that was inside of a barbecue grill.
From there, Smith went to the farmer's market where he sold under the name Bungalow Beans. Eventually, he hit the road and slung coffee out of a vintage camper. These days, though, he's parked his product in downtown Sydney, where he's set up shop in this well-known building called the Whale House.
It's a beautiful space. There's other food vendors here throughout the week. I absolutely love it. The people are superior. I love it here.
While Smith and his new cafe are now reasonably rooted here in downtown Sydney, his journey to becoming a Cape Bretoner in the first place has been a long and interesting road.
So I'm from Orlando, Florida, and I was in the U.S. Navy for 20 years, and we actually left the Kingdom of Bahrain, which is in the news right now, and you can see the base that I was stationed on currently, and we retired from the military and came here to Cape Breton, where my wife is from.
Happy to call Cape Breton home, Smith loves keeping busy. From the backyard barbecue to these bricks and mortar, for now, it's a jolt of Java worth celebrating. Ryan McDonald, CTV News, Sydney.
Thanks, Ryan. What a sweet storefront.
Yeah, I love the look of the place. So cool.
Give me one of those cups of coffee.
Yeah, I'll test it out. Test it out. Check it out the next time I'm in Sydney.
I'd test it.
I guess I'll test it.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. No, you got it. You're covering it.
All right. This is a wild story. Talk about a high-pressure sales pitch.
But when the pressure's on, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall back on your training.
Dragon's Den in the water. You've heard of polar dip. Well, this is the polar pitch in Finland. Business owners take turns stepping into the freezing water, and then they give their pitch for an investment. This was the 10th year of the competition. The top prize is €10,000. It went to a shop, ironically, called Ionic Wind because they developed cooling technology. But that'll keep the pitch short.
That's so cool.
I don't know how well I would do, to be honest.
Well, you'd definitely be getting that pitch out fast.
Look how confident they look.
Yeah, maybe it's not as cold as you think. Or no, she looks a little.
She looks a little. Yeah, that would be me. And I'd be like going through my head, being like, "Why am I here?"
Wow, what a thing.
The guy with the basketball looks like he's like, let's play a game.
Yeah.
He's got props and everything.
I feel like you could do that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
This girl,
Well,
yeah.
I have been practicing pull-up plunging, so maybe.
Exactly. So I feel like you'd be top tier. I'd put you in for us.
Next year, I'll share
You
the
could pitch
10,000
for
euros.
us.
Yeah,
She's our
among us.
spokesperson. Throw her in. Okay, still ahead. Brienne has another look at the forecast on this Wednesday, and I'll have your national news headlines. And we're saying good morning to all of our viewers in the Hub City. Here's a live look at Moncton this morning. Some cloudy conditions. Brienne's got the forecast right after this.
Welcome back. It is 7:13, 7:43 if you are in Newfoundland and parts of Labrador, and looking like a picture-perfect postcard here in Halls Harbor. A cloudy start to the day, a little bit gray, and we will continue to see a little bit of that wintry mix hanging around throughout the majority of this morning, especially throughout Nova Scotia. We are starting to see things clear out a little bit in parts of New Brunswick, but that's going to hang around through the majority of this morning through Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island. Now, taking a look here, we are seeing a little bit cooler temperatures up in northern parts of New Brunswick. We're seeing pretty average type temperatures for most of Nova Scotia and a little bit cooler over on Prince Edward Island much colder up in Labrador, and that's because there is a cold air mass that's settling into the region with westerly winds giving additional wind chill. So that is where we will see our yellow alert warning for tonight into Thursday. So this is issued by Environment Canada. We are going to be seeing cold wind chills between -50 and -30 in the greater Northern Peninsula, central, coastal, and western parts of Labrador. So if you do have to be out tonight and into the early hours of Thursday morning, please take that into consideration because frostbite is definitely a concern. Now, taking a look at our forecasted timeline, like I said, the majority of it clearing out through northern parts of New Brunswick, but hanging around through that southern portion into Prince Edward Island and turning into rain for western parts of Nova Scotia. It is a fast-moving system, so by noon it should be clear for most of Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island, still hanging on a little bit as we head into the early afternoon into parts of Cape Breton as well as PEI. And then we are going to see some more scattered flurries, a little bit of freezing rain entering into northern parts of New Brunswick as we head into the early hours of Wednesday. But that system is fast moving and pushing over into Newfoundland and Labrador as of this afternoon. We're mostly going to see trace amounts of snow. We are going to see a little bit more of an accumulation over the next 24 hours, especially in Cape Breton, where it's going to linger a little bit longer. And then the majority of that snowfall, again, is going to be hanging around through Newfoundland for the next 24 hours. Taking a look at our forecast for today, warmer temperatures. We will start to see some sun pop through, but like I said, some scattered flurries coming back into the region a little bit later into the afternoon and evening for northern parts of New Brunswick. As we head over onto Prince Edward Island, we'll start to see some of those snow flurries clearing, as well as some of that rain and that freezing rain clearing. And then as we head over into Cape Breton Island, we are going to continue to see some of those flurries hanging around through the course of the morning. And then that is switching into rain for most of western parts of Nova Scotia. Now over into Cape Breton, or rather into Newfoundland and Labrador, again, cooler conditions, some scattered flurries as well hanging around. So we are going to continue to see some sun popping through in the Nain area, but again, it's going to be much colder than what those numbers are saying. So make sure you are bundling up. For now, let's head over to Amanda for a look at your international and national news headlines.
Canada's intelligence agency is warning of likely cyber attacks as an act of retaliation by Iran. The Canadian Centre for Cybersecurity states pro-Iran hacktivists will likely view Canada as a target due to Canada's public support of the U.S.-Israel military activity. There have been no confirmed attacks yet. The U.S. Senate is headed towards a vote this afternoon on President Donald Trump's decision to embark on a war against Iran. Yesterday, Trump defended U.S. military action and appeared to contradict his own Secretary of State while explaining why it started. CTV's Joy Malvin has more.
But Ukraine has in the Oval Office, the U.S. president says he just had a feeling that Iran was going to strike, but denies he was pulled into this war by Israel.
I might have forced their hand. You see, we were having negotiations with these lunatics, and it was my opinion that they were going to attack first.
Contradicting his own Secretary of State, Marco Rubio.
We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces.
The president who promised no more wars portrays this one as necessary to eliminate Iran's nuclear threat once and for all, destroying their naval and missile capabilities. And Trump says they knocked out Iran's radar defenses, hitting 1,700 targets so far.
We're hitting them very hard, and the big scale hitting goes now. They no longer have air protection. They no longer have any detection facilities at all left, and so they're gonna be in for a lot of hurt.
After wiping out Iran's top leadership, Trump has called for Iranians to rise up and take over their own country. And yes, Trump has thoughts about who he'd like to take over. The late Iran Shah's son, not his first choice.
I guess the worst case would be we do this and then somebody takes over who's as bad as the previous person, right? That could happen. I would like to see somebody in there that's going to bring it back for the people.
The president lashed out at Spain and the UK for their initial response to his war.
But this is not the age of Churchill. I will say the UK has been very, very uncooperative.
And as America's war widens, already claiming U.S. soldiers' lives, lawmakers question the legal basis for Trump's war and will try to force a vote to limit the president's war powers. Joy Malvin, CTV News, Washington.
Thank you, Joy. Finally, Newfoundland and Labrador has signed a new deal to move a major offshore oil project ahead. The Bay du Nord project would provide thousands of jobs and a huge boost to the province's economy. The benefits agreement with Equinor and BP could deliver up to $6.4 billion over the first phase of the project. Quick break here on Your Morning Atlantic. When we return, we'll be talking about an inspirational lunch for International Women's Day. That conversation is coming up next. Please stay with us.
Welcome back at 7:22. Now, this Sunday, March 8th, is International Women's Day, and the biggest celebration in Atlantic Canada is this Friday in Halifax. The 15th annual International Women's Day breakfast will be held at the Marriott Harbourfront. It's organized by their Centre for Women in Business, and it celebrates and showcases female entrepreneurs. Joining us now is one of 5 featured speakers, Jennifer Vey from Temporary Expert Social Enterprise. Good morning, Jennifer.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great, and I know we're doing this by Zoom because you didn't want to face the slushy roads. That's good. Safety first. So you are a guest speaker at this Friday's International Women's Day breakfast. Tell us what you'll be speaking about.
I'm honored with many of my women colleagues to be speaking about advocacy. Advocacy will be my topic.
All right, and now tell us a little bit more about your business.
My business is Temporary Expert Social Enterprise. We're getting off the ground. It's for people who can't work a 9 to 5. It covers a big umbrella, but the thought came because I'm chronically ill. I have cervical dystonia, and I also have multiple brain tumors, which luckily are benign, but I have 9 of them. So it's close to my heart. So I knew that there was a place for people who had intelligence and skills and just couldn't work a 9 to 5. And many people fall into this category, and many businesses need to start thinking about not hours in a day, but what they actually can accomplish.
Well, this is fascinating, and it's so important on International Women's Day to consider all women in different circumstances, in different walks of life. So I can see why your speech is going to be so important on Friday. And why is International Women's Day important to you as a female entrepreneur?
I think I was fortunate. My grandmother in the 70s and 80s actually ran a company. And so I'm one of the few that have seen women in the business community, and talking with other women business owners and being part of women's events, I find that without seeing women in places as a CEO, as an entrepreneur, it's so integral to the way that you see the world and view the world. And it's also, I know Canadian, the Centre for Women in Business, for me, opened up many doors for me to be able to have my business.
Well, Friday's event is sold out, and you're involved in one of Atlantic Canada's largest celebrations for International Women's Day. So, does this have a special meaning for you to be, speaking in front of this audience at this large event?
Absolutely. Everybody's topic is amazing, and mine is a section of the population that hasn't really gotten any visibility yet, I think. There's a lot of people that are sitting out of working that need a sense of purpose and that need to be part of the community that have been left out of work. And they're capable and able to work. And especially for Nova Scotia, it's a great base to draw from that we've been missing.
Yeah, I'd love to find out more about your business at a different time, really shine a spotlight on it. Finally, just with the time we have left, any advice for any others out there who are considering entrepreneurship?
I would say absolutely surround yourself with women and people who are supportive and have your base. I was sick, for example, a little story, and I couldn't run a booth I had. And so people stepped in for me. And that's the kind of thing you need as an entrepreneur. You need to create those connections and have those people around you to mentor you and support you on this journey, because you're going to need it. And it's a great journey to be on.
All right. Thank you so much, Jennifer. I guess that's what Friday's all about. Break a leg on Friday. All right.
Thank you.
It's 7:27. We'll take a quick break and be back with more of our show right after this.
Just ahead in this half hour, March must-haves. Lifestyle contributor Denise Wild will join us with her upgraded picks to help you look and function better this spring. That's coming up on Your Morning Atlantic.
Welcome back. It's 7:31 on this fine Wednesday, midway through the week, midway through the show. Here we are, just chatting during the break about exercising.
Yes.
Now, I know you are training for the Blue Nose Marathon.
I am.
The
full. Bring it on. 42.2 kilometers.
She's doing great.
I know, and that's
He's halfway there.
I know you love to challenge yourself. I know you love to challenge yourself. You hit a new record in your weightlifting yesterday. Tell our viewers about that.
I did. I was able to squat 185 pounds.
Amazing.
That's incredible.
Yep.
Was it like a bar? Or were you like holding a person? Like, let's do this.
Oh, I would love to hold a person. Anyone want to volunteer? Although they might be a little wiggly, and then I would just be like, ah.
I'll try to hold myself really rigid. You could do me. Oh my gosh, that's fun. Well, yeah, for me, Wednesday is going to be a gym day. So I'm going to go, and sometimes just getting yourself through the door of the gym, that's the hardest part.
Honestly.
And then you just gotta take it from there. But in any case, I do find that when you do put that investment in your health, you feel better. Especially during times of years like this where we have less light and more snow and rain and slush and all that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I find just having that spring goal like makes these months fly by, gets me outside.
For sure. So what are we looking at today weather-wise?
Well, weather-wise, it's going to be a little gross. You might want to work out inside. If you are running today, I suggest a treadmill or a track instead.
Slushy.
Yeah, it's going to be a little slushy, as we can see. Here we are continuing to see some of that snow on the ground, and that warm weather is going to make things watery and wet and just slippery conditions all the way around. So that snow is also going to feel a lot heavier because it is absorbing that rain. So if you do have to shovel your driveway today, it is going to be a little bit of that heavier snow as well. So just take that into consideration as you head out and about on this Wednesday morning. Now, temperature is not too bad, a little bit colder up in northern parts of New Brunswick. And then we are seeing a cold air mass settling in Labrador, which is why we're seeing significantly colder numbers up there. And that's actually where we're going to have a special weather statement in effect for today. As you can take a look here at the wind chill factors over in Labrador, that's going to be our biggest concern. Not much wind chill factors everywhere else in Atlantic Canada, but Labrador is going to feel the most impacts, especially tonight into Thursday morning. We're going to see cold wind chills from -50 to -30. So if you do have to be out and about tonight into tomorrow morning, just take that into precaution because you don't want frostbite. It is going to be cold out there. Those winds are pushing in westerly as well. So that is something to consider as you head throughout your day and into tomorrow. But I'll have more on the weather coming up in just a bit. For now, let's head over to Amanda.
Thanks, Brianne. And that is where we begin. You may want to give yourself some extra time on the morning commute. Snowplows and salt trucks are out and have been throughout the evening, but road conditions are messy this morning. In Halifax area, overnight snow turned into rain and then freezing rain, and that has resulted in pooling in places as well as slushy or icy conditions. Now, as for impacts in Nova Scotia, classes are canceled in places or schools have a 2-hour delayed opening. In PEI, some schools are on a 1-hour delay, and there are no school impacts in New Brunswick. You can find specific details for each school board on our website, ctvnewsatlantic.ca. And Brianne will have the latest look at the forecast after our next break. The outbreak of war in the Middle East has resulted in a significant overnight jump in what you'll pay at the pumps. In Nova Scotia Zone 1, the Halifax area, gas jumped by nearly 9 cents a litre. The minimum price now $1.47.7. Diesel increased by 7.6 cents. The minimum price $1.91.2. In PEI, gas jumped by nearly 7 cents a litre. The minimum price now $54.2 rather. Diesel on the island is now above the $2 mark. It increased by 10.5 cents. The minimum price $203.9. Now in New Brunswick, there is no change in the price of gas. It rests at $1.42 a litre, but diesel did increase by 9.6 cents. The maximum price now $204.3 a litre. Hundreds of protesters gathered on the Nova Scotia legislature yesterday to oppose the provincial government's natural resources policies and cuts to cultural programs. The First Nations-led protests in Halifax brought together Mi'kmaq leaders, environmental activists, and arts groups who are opposing $130 million in government grant cuts in last week's deficit budget.
And we have to start working together. That's the only thing that's going to save us, is working together, shoulder to shoulder with all our neighbors.
We know we have to grow our economy here in Nova Scotia, and we need to do that by using our resources.
Premier Tim Houston was absent from his seat in Province House while attending a mining conference in Toronto, where he is talking directly to industry to encourage development in Nova Scotia. Newfoundland and Labrador has signed a new deal to move a major offshore oil project ahead. The Bay du Nord project would provide thousands of jobs and a huge boost to the province's economy. The benefits agreement with Equinor and BP could deliver up to $6.4 billion over the first phase of the project. An invasive species of zebra mussel has started to show up in parts of the St. John River. The mussels have been discovered in multiple sections of the river as far south as Belle Isle Bay. Once the mussels are established in the waterway, experts say they can hurt the environment and infrastructure. A research scientist with the Canadian River Institute at UNB says early action is key.
Once they're established, there's very little that can be done, especially in an open system. When they are on infrastructure, if it's a closed system, there is chemical treatment, but obviously we've got a 673-kilometer-long river. We're not going to dump chemicals into the river, and then you can't physically pick zebra mussels off of every rock in the river.
New Brunswickers are being advised to check their boats and docks regularly for zebra mussels. Staying on the water in New Brunswick, anglers have a little less than 2 weeks to get their fishing shacks off the province's frozen waterways. March 15th is the deadline this year. Officials say it's an effort to help prevent garbage and other debris from ending up in the water as the temperatures rise. That said, anglers can still head on to the ice and cast a line until the end of the month. Well, forget the Oscars. These movie stars held an awards ceremony all their own, and you could say it was perfect. The Fido Awards. These celebrate the best performances by dogs in films. Among the winners was Rosie, the Rottweiler, who appears in Pillion, and Toad, the Jack Russell, who was featured in Hamnet. And the Best in World award went to Dixie, an American Bulldog, for her performance in the film Dragonfly. This is the 20th anniversary of the Fido Awards.
Look at that performance. Wow.
Very nice. Have any of you seen these films and these dogs in these films?
No.
No, neither have I.
But I think of dogs in films all the time.
I do. I pick them out.
Yeah. Well, think of Precious in Silence of the Lambs.
Absolutely.
A pivotal role.
I Am Legend.
Yes, with Will Smith. Yeah. I haven't seen the film, though.
So I haven't seen it. There's a dog in that one.
In the Silence of the Lambs.
Yes.
Toto from The Wizard of Oz.
Oh.
Classic. That Toto made more than some of the actors.
Homeward Bound.
Homeward Bound. Oh, yes. Many actors in that one.
My tragic childhood.
Okay. This is also wonderful stuff. Okay, let's move on to it. A
let's not cry.
addition has arrived at the Arizona Zoo, and folks are saying, hip, hippo, hooray. It's this baby pygmy hippo jelly bean. Oh my gosh, these visuals are so cute. She has a name now after months of public voting in a contest. The Arizona Zoo was looking for a candy-themed name to go with their mother, Lollipop, and father, Tootsie Roll. So experts say there are fewer than 3,000 pygmy hippos in the world, and look at her go. These visuals are wonderful.
Jelly bean.
Apparently, the climate in Arizona is similar to their natural home in West Africa. Oh my heavens!
Oh my gosh! It's giving Mudang, and I'm very happy.
It's like when but not at all grumpy, just wonderful.
she's just happy. She's in Arizona though, so I feel like it's nice.
Look at her go!
Look how adorable she is.
Should we go on a trip to see her?
I think we should.
Yeah.
We're headed your way. Oh my
Jelly Bean, we're coming for you.
You know what? Maybe next Pet Talk we bring in Jelly Bean.
I would love that.
Or we go to Jelly Bean.
We'd have to keep hosing her down though. We'd have to get a special little like kiddie pool or something in the studio. Yeah. Be logistically challenging, but so worth it.
It's so worth it.
Absolutely worth it. Golden. Okay, so we are asking this. Maybe one of your household chores is cleaning the stall. Maybe if you're out on the farm, you don't mind cleaning the horse's stall or other animals. Who knows? We're asking, what household chore do you actually enjoy doing? It brings you satisfaction. Maybe it's something someone else in your house is like, absolutely not. You do the sweeping. Anyways, we want to hear from you. Send us a text at 10400. We will share your answers later on in the show. What household chore do you actually enjoy doing? Maybe it's giving the weather forecast. That's next.
Good morning, McAdam. We are seeing that sun shining through. We are going to continue to see that throughout the course of the day. It is 7:44, 8:14 if you are in Newfoundland and parts of Labrador. And while some parts of the Maritimes are still going to have some wintry mix this morning, as you can see there in McAdam, we are starting to see that sun shining through, and that is going to be the theme. So once the system clears out, we will see some sunshine breaking throughout most of the Maritimes for today, but that's going to be a little bit later into the afternoon. As we take a look here at temperatures, a little bit cooler up in northern parts of New Brunswick. We're looking at above freezing for most of Nova Scotia, but cold temperatures up in Labrador, and that is because we have a cold warning. Yes, a cold air mass is coming into the region, being pushed in from westerly winds. So we will see this yellow alert remain in effect tonight into Thursday. So that is going to see conditions up to -50 with the wind chill. So if you do have to be out and about in the Great Northern Peninsula, central, coastal, or western parts of Labrador tonight and into tomorrow, just make sure you're taking the proper precautions so that you don't experience the impacts of this extremely cold weather. Now, taking a look here at our forecast, like I said, we're seeing that sun breaking through most of New Brunswick. It's going to continue throughout the course of today as we start to see this system push through into Newfoundland. It is a fast-moving system, so it will be clearing out a little bit later this afternoon, bringing a mix of sun and cloud into the region. Now, we will have some scattered flurries and some freezing rain creeping back into the northern parts of New Brunswick into the evening and overnight. So that is something to take into consideration. And then into Thursday, we will see another little bit of a system hanging around, but that should clear by Thursday afternoon. So we will see some flurries around the region into Thursday morning, but only trace amounts pretty much across the board. The majority of the significant snowfall is going to remain over in Cape Breton Island as well as over into parts of Newfoundland. Taking a look here at our forecast for today, like I said, that sun is going to be popping through before we see some flurries entering back into the region. We're seeing those warmer temperatures well above freezing for most of New Brunswick. Over on Prince Edward Island, a little bit cooler, but again, scattered flurries and a little bit of that wintry mix hanging around through the course of this morning before things clear out a little bit later this afternoon. Going to linger a little bit longer over into Cape Breton as well as into eastern parts of Nova Scotia. But again, those above freezing temperatures. And we're going to see the majority of that be rain over in western parts of Nova Scotia before clearing out into some sunshine. Now, as we take a look over in Labrador, colder temperatures, of course, settling in to Labrador. We are going to see some of those scattered flurries coming across as the system pushes itself into the eastern portion of Atlantic Canada. Let's head over to Crystal.
Thank you so much, Brianne. It's 7:47, and it's not spring yet, but there are signs that it's on the way. And since spring is a time of renewal, it's the perfect time to introduce some little upgrades into your life that can make a big difference in how you look, feel, and function. Joining us now with her March must-haves is our partner and lifestyle contributor, Denise Weld. Good morning, Denise.
Good morning, Crystal. Yes, it's almost here. We can see it coming in that beautiful sunrise that we saw earlier, too.
Well, it's sometimes fun to buy little things to help us get ready for spring. So let's begin with your first little spring upgrade.
Yes, so spring is all about fresh starts. I like to take it as a cue to refresh even the little things. So let's start with our bathroom counter. This is Hello toothpaste. I love that it's vegan and cruelty-free. They even have a fluoride-free whitening option, plus one with vitamin C if you want that extra boost. And they also have a sunny days deodorant that actually smells like sunshine in a stick. They're all about bringing in an everyday yay to those life small moments. It's those small swaps that can make your routine feel new again. And you'll find these at major retailers, and you can visit helloproducts.ca.
Gosh, even the branding is so cheerful and spring-like. I see why you picked this.
Yes, it's perfect for your top shelf.
All right, your next must-have is all about hydration. I was just putting on hand lotion during the break. It's so dry this time of year.
You know what? And the warmer weather means more outdoor workouts, maybe more travel, busy sports schedules. So your hydration needs to work even harder. And that includes inside. This is Wake Water's electrolyte drink mix. It's clean, naturally flavored, sugar-free energy and hydration. It has 4 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink in Canada. They are proudly Canadian, manufactured in Ontario. It's 0 sugar, 0 artificial sweeteners, only 10 calories, and they have ready-to-drink bottles, too.
Oh, yeah, that no doubt. Getting hydrated from the inside out, I love that. All right, let's talk about...
and the flavors are delicious.
Oh, they are? Okay, well, that's even better. Excellent. I know that it wouldn't be spring without some spring cleaning, or as Amanda would call it, her Super Bowl. Mine, too. I actually love to clean. What have you got to help upgrade our cleaning?
Yes, absolutely. So March is peak spring cleaning season. Some cleaners contain strong chemicals that linger indoors, but not Nature Clean. This is an incredible Canadian brand. They make cleaning products, laundry, even personal care essentials using natural ingredients. So they're healthy alternatives. The lavender collection is infused with essential oils. So it has a beautiful spa-like scent. They're effective, deep cleaning products made from plants and minerals that are safe to use, gentle on the planet, allergy tested, cruelty-free, vegan. You can find these in stores nationwide or visit natureclean.ca.
Oh, gosh, you had me at spa-like scents. All right, and speaking of naturals, I see orange naturals in front of you there.
Yes, exactly. So these season changes can impact our energy and our immune system. This is a great checkpoint to reassess, even upgrade your vitamins and supplements. These are Canadian-made Orange Naturals. So many great Canadian brands here today. Their Rapid Restore is an extra-strength probiotic that promotes good gut flora, helps support immune function. All it takes is 1 capsule a day to keep your gut balanced, and these are available at Sobeys.
Oh, my gosh, Denise, such great ideas. Thank you so much for helping us think ahead to spring.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Crystal. Happy spring, everyone.
Happy spring to you. See you next time. And now we'll turn our attention over to Amanda with Health and Medical News.
Thanks, ladies. Health medical news now. How too many international headlines can impact mental health. It is one of the topics in Your Health. Mental health professionals are flagging rising stress levels as coverage of the Middle East conflict dominates headlines. They say anxiety and unease are predictable responses to violent global events. Experts advise limiting endless scrolling and steering clear of inflammatory online content. Instead, recommending people consume news intentionally and set firm screen time boundaries. Clinicians also point to exercise, conversation, and counseling as tools to steady emotional strain.
Finally, a new survey suggests about 3 million Canadian adults are currently taking GLP-1 drugs such as Ozempic or Mounjaro. The poll conducted by Leger Healthcare says more than half the people surveyed who are taking the medications reported decreased appetite. About 30% say they're going to restaurants or getting takeout food less often, and they're buying more fresh fruits, vegetables, and protein-rich foods. The survey says the number one reason people are taking or considering taking GLP-1s is weight loss, and diabetes came second. Findings also estimate that another 2 million Canadian adults would like to be taking the meds, but cost is a barrier.
Well, we have no milestones to pass along today, but if you'd like to see previously aired milestones or find out how to submit one, visit our website by scanning the QR code on your screen. And a reminder, milestones must be received 2 weeks in advance. So this morning, we're learning about a real-life baby beaver that was rescued when she was just 1 day old.
Yes, but since then, the little creature has grown, and so has her bond with her caregiver. ABC's Danny New has the story.
On this World Wildlife Day,
Bo helps people see beavers as they've never seen them before.
we are meeting a pair of best friends who have been on an educational mission together.
Oh my gosh. He's waving. She's waving at me.
Over the past 2 years, Alexis and a beaver at her animal rehabilitation facility named Bo have been picking up millions of views online.
She fit right in the palm of my hand.
As she details their journey from rescuer and rescuee to being close enough to groom each other.
I'm just using my fingers like little beaver teeth. And that's just how she builds family bonds that have, she considers us to be a colony.
Alexis first took in Bo 2 years ago after a flash flood led to her being found abandoned near Alexis's home in upstate New York. Alexis says she and her team looked everywhere for her family.
It was a series of miracles that had to line up for her to survive.
She's healthy now, but Bo did eventually lose her eye to disease, and her immune system in general is just forever compromised. So, unlike the other beavers in Alexis's care,
hey, Bo,
Bo is just going to have to stay under her supervision.
I can't go in there with you.
However, she gets out plenty, and as you can see, actually communicated to Alexis that she wanted to swim together, so she had to get a wetsuit. In the summer, they now swim regularly in the pond together. Also, Bo even served as ring bearer at Alexis and her now husband's wedding.
She just waddled it on down the aisle. It was really honestly perfect.
In fact, Bo is even now a certified educational ambassador, and the two of them now travel to teach young folks about why beavers are so important to the environment and to our future.
They filter the water. They even create carbon sinks to help fight climate change, and they prevent natural disasters like wildfires and drought. It's good that Bo's here to remind people just how important they are.
And our parent company, Disney, has a movie actually about beavers coming out this week. It's called Hoppers, and Alexis was actually invited to the world premiere. Her review, she told me it gives beavers the attention they deserve, and she's not biased. In New York, for ABC News, I'm Danny New.
Oh my goodness, I can't get over that story. That was amazing. Looking at our weather for today, we're looking at an average of 6. We are going to continue to see some snow flurries throughout the course of this morning for southern parts of New Brunswick, and then we will see some more flurries coming into northern parts a little bit later this afternoon into the early evening. Those are going to hang around into the early hours of Thursday morning before we see a temperature dip, and then into Friday, we are going to see some of that sun shining and more seasonal type temperatures settling in. For Nova Scotia, much of the same. We're going to see that mixed precipitation hanging around throughout the course of this morning before things clear out. Into Thursday, we're going to have a few more flurries hanging around. And then into Friday, mostly sunny skies and a little bit of a warm-up. Over on Prince Edward Island, we are going to continue to see those flurries hanging around through the course of this morning and into Thursday morning. Much cooler temperatures over there. Friday, we see a little bit of a warm-up with the sun.
The #1 morning show in Halifax. Turk, Megan, and Amateur Alex. And home to the biggest artists. Halifax's #1 hit music station. 101.3 Virgin Radio.
The It's Wednesday, March 4th. Today on Your Morning Atlantic, pain at the pumps. Conflict in the Middle East drives up gas and diesel prices in the region. Your top news headlines just ahead.
And independent senior living. I get to visit Parkland at the Common to check out the accommodations they offer for older adults who still want independence. That and so much more coming up on the Wednesday edition of Your Morning Atlantic.
Good morning, Atlantic, Canada. Thank you so much for making us a part of your morning. We have Brianne with us for the rest of the week as Latavia takes the rest of her birthday week off and the birthday week for her twin boys.
And her mother.
And her mother. Big birthday time. I got a little funny story to share with you two, and you. My car was really dusty. I knew we were getting the system in today, but regardless, I said it's time for a car wash. I'm going to go through. So I went through one of those automated car washes, and the doors open, and there's just this hard hat in the middle of the car wash.
Ooh,
and I was like,
weird.
I know. And I was like, what do I do? And all of a sudden, of course, that's when another vehicle pulls up behind you, waiting for you to go in. So this guy's wondering what I'm doing because I parked the car and I step out. And I'm like, do I move it? But then I went to go into the car wash, of course, and the spouts right at the bottom start shooting. And so I step back and I think, okay, that wasn't a good idea. And the man behind me says, no, you have to take your car through.
Oh,
well, yeah, of course. He was nice about it. And I said, I can't. There's a hard hat in the middle of it. Anyway, so God love him. He went in and he got it.
Wow.
It didn't turn, the car wash didn't turn on. And he disposed of it. But that was my adventure in the car wash. Yesterday.
I love going through the car wash. There's a chore.
That's a chore that I 100% do not mind
It is
doing.
fun. I don't know if it was necessary considering the system that we have today.
Listen, I should have done it too. Yeah. This is really pretty.
It is really pretty. Let's just look at it for a minute.
Nature's car wash, right?
Exactly. Honestly, snow falling like this, I love it. Even though it's March and we're kind of over winter, I do love this look right now because it is beautiful. And we are going to continue to see some of that throughout the course of this morning, especially in parts of southern New Brunswick into parts of Prince Edward Island as well as Nova Scotia. This system is moving pretty quickly though, so we should see it clear out a little bit later this morning into the early hours of this afternoon. As for wind chill factors, not a whole lot to contend with, not feeling too much colder than what the numbers are saying, a couple degrees here and there, but the majority of the cold weather feeling is going to be up in Labrador, and that is where we have a yellow warning level for cold weather coming through. Now we have an Arctic air mass pushing into the region, especially up in parts of Labrador, which is why we're going to continue to see cold wind chills from -50 to -30. So do take that into consideration if you do have to get out and about tonight and into the early hours of Thursday morning. Now, we do have some messy conditions continuing, especially in parts of Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island this morning, but I will have more on that forecast coming up in just a bit. For now, let's head over to Amanda for a look at news.
Gas and diesel prices. We begin with the impacts of the weather. Snow plows and salt trucks are out this morning, but road conditions are messy. Overnight snow turned into rain, then freezing rain, at least in the Halifax area. That's resulted in pooling in some places, as well as slushy or icy conditions. This is impacting schools in Nova Scotia. Some classes are canceled for the day. Other schools have a 2-hour delayed opening. And in PEI, some schools are on a 1-hour delay. This weather system having no impact on schools in New Brunswick. You can find more details on our website, ctvnewsatlantic.ca. Brianne will have more details on when this system will be fully out of the region in her next look at the forecast after our next break. The outbreak of war in the Middle East has resulted in a significant overnight jump in what you'll pay at the pumps. In Nova Scotia, Zone 1, gas jumped by nearly 9 cents a litre. The minimum price now $1.47.7. Diesel increased by 7.6 cents. The minimum price now $1.91.2 in the Halifax area. In Prince Edward Island, gas jumped by nearly 7 cents a litre. The minimum price now $1.54.2. Diesel on the island is now above the $2 mark. It increased by 10.5 cents. The minimum price now $2.03.9. And in New Brunswick, no change in the price of gas. It rests at $1.42. But diesel did increase by 9.6 cents. The maximum price now $2.04.3 a litre. Hundreds of protesters converged on the Nova Scotia legislature yesterday to oppose the provincial government's natural resources policies and cuts to cultural programs. The First Nations-led protest in Halifax brought together Mi'kmaq leaders, environmental activists, and arts groups who are opposing $130 million in government grant cuts in last week's deficit budget.
And we have to start working together. That's the only thing that's going to save us, is working together, shoulder to shoulder with all our neighbors.
We know we have to grow our economy here in Nova Scotia, and we need to do that by using our resources.
Premier Tim Houston was absent from his seat in Province House. He's in Ontario attending a mining conference in Toronto, where he's talking directly to industry to encourage development in Nova Scotia. Police in St. John have arrested a 69-year-old man in connection with the sexual assault of 15 people at a long-term care facility. The investigation began back in January. At the time, police told CTV News a suspect was known to them and the individual was not an employee or a resident of the facility. The accused has been released on conditions and will appear in court at the end of May. The police chief described the investigation as challenging and complex, given the vulnerability of the alleged victims. A youth was arrested after an assault at a Halifax school Tuesday morning. It happened at St. Agnes Junior High in the West End. Police say a youth was assaulted by another youth with a pair of scissors. The victim was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The investigation is ongoing. New Brunswick's premier is hoping to steer the province back to the future when mining was a large contributor to the GDP. CTV's Laura Brown explains.
Susan Holt is confident the Sisson tungsten mine will be realized, but she's not quite as sure there's a way to speed it up.
I can't tell you right now that they're guaranteed is, but we are going to look for every opportunity to see that economic impact quickly.
The premier met with the company behind the mine, Northcliffe Resources, who said they're on track to finish an updated feasibility study in early summer. Then they'll have to work on meeting the province's 40 environmental impact conditions, which will likely take a year, says Holt.
So the plan from sort of mid-2026 through to mid-2027 is to get that engineering design done, get those conditions met, and do the work on those.
Mid to late 2027, it's expected Northcliffe will make their final investment decision. Hope for some, concern for others.
They should not be willing to sacrifice entire watersheds for a mining operation.
Kuhn wonders why, with a $1.3 billion deficit and talk of closing schools or reducing the civil service, that's being considered. Holt maintains she's trying to find investment.
We've got to grow the economy, and I'm here selling New Brunswick.
Laura Brown, CTV News, Fredericton.
Thank you, Laura. Finally, Canadians across the country looked to the sky overnight and early in the morning to catch a rare celestial show as a total lunar eclipse turned the moon red. Now, this was the view of the blood moon over Toronto. The Canadian Space Agency says the phenomenon happens when Earth moves between the sun and moon, casting a shadow, turning the moon a deep red. And the next total lunar eclipse won't happen until late 2028. The blood moon rises.
Turn around. Turn around, bright eyes.
Turn around, yeah. Really neat.
Okay, I love that. Okay, this is fun too. This is more stargazing than moon gazing. The past weekend, CTV sponsored the annual African Heritage Month Gala, along with the friends at Virgin and Move Radio. Well, every year, we collectively set up at the reception and take photos of the attendees.
Yes, we do.
Now here are the photos. So we have a brand new photo booth this year, and here we go. Let's check out some of these amazing pictures. Oh gosh, everybody
so
dressed
good.
up.
I love this event. I went last year. I wasn't able to go this year, but it's such a fun event to be a part of. And the fashion,
yeah. Oh no, like
is always top tier.
This lilac look is wonderful.
Yeah, gosh, that's gorgeous. Very dapper gentleman there.
Yeah.
I loved how this is too, like for all ages as well. We saw the little kid a little earlier.
Yeah. Well, this is so much fun. People posing. We want to thank everybody who came over to say hi and have their photo taken. And we will be back next year. Look at the looks.
These are beautiful.
Yeah. Love the looks.
Love
like
this.
I said, the fashion.
Is nice.
Oh my gosh.
That red.
Yeah, make it like coordinating. Great looks. We love that.
Well, how often do you hear too being like, I wish I have an event I can wear this too?
Yep.
Here you go.
Yeah, for sure.
The best.
Quick little note, Mood Morning Chat, this topic is resonating with people.
Yeah.
People are coming in fast and furious. Don't forget to tell us your name and where you're viewing from.
Right.
Super important. But anyway, yeah, I'm helping you out with that today, Amanda. So
yes. Yeah, I'm having some technical difficulties with the texting app. Yeah. All right, coming up next, I will have a look at your national news headlines, and Brianne's got the latest look at the forecast. If you got a good pair of boots, probably not a bad idea to have them handy today. It's gonna get warm though too. The details are coming up.
Good morning. That sun is coming out like I promised. 8:14, 8:44 if you are in Newfoundland and parts of Labrador. And yes, we are going to continue to see some of that sun shining through. Of course, it's always a beautiful day in Lunenburg. We are going to be contending with a little bit of that wintry mix through eastern parts of Nova Scotia and into Cape Breton throughout the course of this morning. Same with out in Prince Edward Island and southern portions of New Brunswick. But for the most part, that sun is trying to move its way into our region, and we are seeing some warmer temperatures as we settle throughout our day today. A little bit colder, of course, over in Labrador, and that is because we do have an Arctic bubble coming through, and that's what we're going to be experiencing, some colder weather settling in overnight and into the early hours of Thursday morning. So that is something to take into consideration. We do have that yellow alert in effect, and that's going to continue tonight into Thursday with wind chill factors up to -50. So take that into consideration if you do have to get out and about tonight and into the early hours of Thursday morning. Now, watching the system, like I said, pretty much clearing out of our region as of noon. We are going to continue to see a few of those lingering flurries, a little bit of that rain and freezing rain hanging on through Prince Edward Island, eastern parts of Nova Scotia, and into Cape Breton before it moves over into Newfoundland and Labrador. But it is a fast-moving system, so it is pushing out of our region pretty quickly. We could see some flurries coming back into the region, though, overnight into the early hours of Thursday morning. So we are going to see a few flakes hanging around into Thursday, but not staying for too long. We are going to pretty much see that clear out as we head into Thursday afternoon. Now, taking a look here at our accumulated snowfall for the next 24 hours, the majority of that is going to be over in the Cape Breton area as well as into parts of Newfoundland. And as we continue on our day to day, we are going to see warmer temperatures and that sun popping through as well. So we are going to see sunshine coming through, those scattered flurries hanging around a little bit, especially in southern portions of New Brunswick for the morning, before some more flurries come through in northern portions a little bit later this afternoon as we head over onto Prince Edward Island. Those flurries are clearing out throughout the course of today. Into Cape Breton, we are going to continue to see some of that wintry mix hanging around throughout the majority of the morning before pushing out into the early afternoon. And we're starting to see that sun coming through and those conditions clearing as we head later into this morning in western parts of Nova Scotia. Of course, colder conditions up in Labrador, and then we are continuing to see that system push its way into Labrador and Newfoundland. For now, we'll head over to Amanda for a look at your international and national headlines.
Thanks, Brianne. As the war in the Middle East escalates, nearly 100,000 Canadians are in the region impacted by the conflict, and Ottawa has requested Oman for its airspace, if necessary, to bring those who are stranded home.
I was on the phone with foreign ministers of Gulf countries and Middle East countries all weekend, including Oman this morning, who they still have, or had at the time of my conversation with the foreign minister, have airspace that is still viable.
The Foreign Affairs Minister says Canada is making sure supports are available. The U.S. is securing military aircraft and charter flights for its citizens. Some international tourists stranded in the Middle East have started flying home on limited repatriation flights as hundreds of thousands race to get out. And Canada's intelligence agency is warning of likely cyber attacks as an act of retaliation by Iran. The Canadian Centre for Cybersecurity states pro-Iran hacktivists will likely view Canada as a target due to Canada's public support of the U.S.-Israel military activity. There have been no confirmed attacks yet. The Prime Minister continues his trade mission in Australia today. Yesterday, Mark Carney took questions about Canada's position on Iran and says his support for U.S. military strikes come with regret. CTV's Abigail Beeman has more.
Good morning, Prime Minister. How are you?
Canada's Prime Minister down under in his first media availability a week into his Indo-Pacific trip, asked about the U.S. and Israel's strikes in Iran.
Prima facie, it appears that these actions are inconsistent with international law.
Mark Carney said Canada supported the U.S.'s initial strike.
We supported that aspect. That is not a blank check.
And Canada backs efforts to stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, a position he takes with regret, given this reality.
A nuclear bomb is a massive threat. It would be the biggest threat.
With a reminder international law binds, Carney called for a de-escalation and said Canada can help in that process. It was also the first time Carney weighed in since a government official suggested India was no longer involved in foreign interference in Canada.
I would not use those words. Okay.
He says the official involved won't face consequences and wouldn't explicitly say whether he believed India is still actively interfering.
There are aspects of those briefings that I can't share in public, and I'm not going to betray them. I will tell you that there is progress on these issues.
Carney said a wide range of countries will continue to try and interfere from time to time, and Canada will continue to call them out when it happens. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Sydney.
A quick break here on Your Morning Atlantic. When we return, Crystal heads back to Parkland to see all that they have to offer in Halifax. That segment coming up next. Please stay with us.
Move Mornings with Aaron and Peter. Weekday mornings on Move 100. The most fun in the morning. And home of the $1,000 minute. Only on Move 100 Halifax.
We are in Halifax at Parkland at the Common. I'm joined by General Manager Danielle, and she's going to give us a tour of this wonderful model suite. Thanks for inviting us in.
Welcome to Parkland at the Common, Crystal. We are located right in the heart of Halifax at the corner of Quinpool and Roby, where we offer elevated living to seniors who are 55 plus, where they can join us, come and live here in one of our fully independent suites, or come here for supportive living. We're here to support people no matter where they are on their journey.
Oh, well, the place is absolutely gorgeous. Let's dig into it a little bit. So, first of all, what would make living in this gorgeous suite different than an ordinary apartment in central Halifax?
The best part about living at Parkland is that we have so many services and amenities to offer. You can come here and enjoy our beautiful swimming pool, our golf simulator, our wonderful canopy restaurant downstairs, and also have access 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to our Parkland team, where we can offer healthcare services if you need that, concierge and chauffeur service. It's all at your fingertips, and we're all about convenience.
Yeah, for sure. Peace of mind and built-in friends, for sure. Okay, let's just say I move in, I'm fully independent, but my needs change as I get older. Can you accommodate that?
Absolutely. Once you move in and you're with Parkland, you have priority access to all of the services. Whether you need assisted living, memory care, we're here to support you.
Okay, wonderful stuff. All right, we're talking about the unit itself. This particular one is splendid. It's 2 bedrooms. What other types of units are available here?
We have studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 2 bedrooms plus a den. Every unit in this building boasts stunning views. If you want to look at the Northwest Arm, you can do that. Halifax Harbor, you can see all the way to Dartmouth. It's absolutely gorgeous.
It's incredible. Okay, now if you are fully independent, you can make all your meals yourself, or you can take some in the dining room, right?
Yes, so you can add a 1 or 2 meal a day plan, but we have fully appointed kitchens here, so you can cook as much as you'd like, or come down, make a reservation, invite friends over. We'll also cater.
Okay, wow. All right, love it. Okay, well, I've met some of the residents here. They seem to love life here at Parkland. What are people telling you about living here?
The best part about Parkland is the people and the amenities. You can join a book club, you can do language classes, you can join us. We went curling down at the Scotiabank Centre. There's so many things that you can do here. There's something for everyone, and it's really all about choice.
Yeah, I know there's a running and a walking group too. Gosh, you're making it sound pretty good there, Danielle. Okay, if people wanted to find out more about living here, how do they do that?
You can come for a tour any day. You can book your tour by visiting experienceparkland.com/common, or you can just walk in. A member of our team would be happy to give you a tour anytime, any day.
All right, love it here. Thank you so much, Danielle.
Thank you.
And we put all the information on our website to make it easier for you to check out.
Well, as we take a look here at our 3-day forecast for New Brunswick, we're seeing a warm up of an average of 6 degrees. We are continuing to see some flurries throughout the course of this morning in southern portions of the province, and we'll see some of those sneak into the province in the north a little bit later into the afternoon, evening, and overnight. Now, we do see a dip in temperature as of Thursday night, but conditions warm up, and we'll see that sun popping through as of Friday. Over in Nova Scotia, much of the same flurries hanging around for parts of eastern Nova Scotia and Cape Breton throughout the course of the morning before clearing into sunshine. We're looking at an average high of 5 degrees. Into Thursday, we'll see some of those flurries come back overnight and into the early hours of the morning. A cool down overnight, but then Friday sees sunny skies and a high of -4. Over on Prince Edward Island, those flurries hanging around for the course of this morning before clearing out, and then we will see them back in on Thursday evening, a high of -11, and then warmer on Friday.
Lifetime. We'll get insider info on the beautiful city of Hong Kong and tell you how you could win a trip for 2 to experience it for yourself. That's coming up in 15 minutes here on Your Morning Atlantic.
Hey, good morning, Atlantic Canada. 8:30, 9 o'clock if you're in Newfoundland and parts of Labrador. And fun fact, those pirate ship things that you keep seeing on the Hong Kong, those are actually called junk boats.
Junk boats?
They're junk boat cruises. So you can get food and drinks on them, and they go around the harbor, or they go to different landmarks throughout Hong Kong, and it's such a cool experience. Again, if you need a travel agent, just, holler, or someone to escort you on the trip that you win, I would happily help.
There you go. Look, you're so generous, Brienne. You give and you give.
Give and I give.
Oh my gosh.
Not junk boats at all.
Cathay Pacific. Cathay Pacific is a fantastic airline.
Wonderful stuff.
Maybe good food, good airline food. Maybe.
Good airline food. Oh, you get a cup of noodles.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. It's true. I eat. Oh yeah, that is. I can vouch for that. Okay, let's head to Peggy's Cove. We'll see what Peggy's wearing today.
What is Peggy wearing today? She's wearing her sunshine.
Yeah, with a bit of a white dress too.
With a little bit of a white dress.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, she's getting ready for spring. She's not quite there yet. She's still wrapped in her winter fur, if you would. And that's pretty much the name of the game. We are seeing that sunshine starting to settle into the Maritimes. A little bit of those messy conditions hanging around through eastern parts of Nova Scotia, Cape Breton, as well as eastern parts of Prince Edward Island as we start our day today. But we are seeing those pretty warm temperatures in the Maritimes. Up in Labrador, it is a little bit of a different story. So as we take a look here at the wind chill factors and what that's feeling like right now, not a whole lot of wind chill to contend with as we start our day today, and pretty much going to be the same as we head throughout our day. The wind chill is going to mostly be impacting into Labrador. So that is because we have a yellow alert system issued by Environment Canada for parts of Labrador. That's going to be tonight into Thursday morning. We have an Arctic air mass pushing in from western parts of the country. So we are going to see those winds picking up, as well as this cold weather settling into the region overnight. So coldest wind chills are expected around -50 to -30, depending on where you are. A little bit warmer inland, but again, it is going to be a little cold as you head out and about tonight into Thursday morning. So if you do have to be anywhere in the morning, just make sure you're bundling up, because frostbite is going to be a concern, and this wind is going to be a concern as well. Of course, if you are in the Maritimes, it was a slushy start to the day. We'll have more on the weather and what we can expect for this Wednesday coming up in just a bit. But for now, let's head over to Amanda for a look at news headlines.
Thanks so much, Brianne. And that is where we began our newscast. Roads very slick and messy this morning. Snow plows and salt trucks were out overnight, but road conditions not ideal. Overnight snow in Halifax turned into rain and then freezing rain, and that resulted in pooling in places as well as slushy or icy conditions. This is impacting schools in the region. Some classes are canceled for the day in Nova Scotia, while other schools have a 2-hour delayed opening. In Prince Edward Island, schools are on a 1-hour delay. There are no school impacts in New Brunswick. You can find more details on our website, ctvnewsatlantic.ca. Brianne will have more details on what we can expect in today's forecast after our next break. The outbreak of war in the Middle East has resulted in a significant overnight jump in what you'll pay at the pumps. In Nova Scotia Zone 1, gas jumped by nearly 9 cents a litre. The minimum price now $1.47.7. Diesel increased by 7.6 cents. The minimum price now $1.91.2. In Prince Edward Island, gas jumped by nearly 7 cents a litre. The minimum price now $1.54.2. Diesel on the island now above the $2 mark again. It increased by 10.5 cents. The minimum price $2.03.9. And in New Brunswick, no change in the price of gas. It rests at $1.42 a litre. Meantime, diesel in New Brunswick increased by 9.6 cents. The maximum price $2.04.3. And as U.S. and Israel's campaign against Iran enters its 5th day, Global Affairs Canada is urging Canadians to avoid all travel to 10 countries, saying more than 85,000 Canadians and permanent residents are currently registered as being in the region. CTV's Scott Hurst is standing by with more. Scott, what is the latest on Canada's response?
Good morning, Amanda. We have heard from the Prime Minister after several days speaking about the situation in the Middle East for the first time on his foreign trip. Speaking from Australia, he reaffirmed Canada's original commitment and support to the initial strike by the United States and the effort to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon, but said that comes with regret. As he said, the current conflict is yet another example of the failure of the international order, saying initial support by Canada is not a blank check. Here's more from the Prime Minister speaking from Australia.
It's for the United States and Israel to make the case, and for whether or not that is the case. And it's for others, more expert than me, non-lawyer, certainly non-international lawyer, who are more expert to make that determination. And that said, well, Canada was not asked to participate. You know that. We were not informed in advance. We were not asked to participate. Prima facie, it appears that these actions are inconsistent with international law.
Amanda, the Prime Minister is calling for a rapid de-escalation and says Canada does stand ready to support that goal, also pointing out and reminding all parties, including the U.S. and Israel, to respect the rules of international engagement, and also calling on Iran to stop its strikes against civilians across the region.
And let's talk about the Canadians on the ground. What are the next steps for Ottawa to coordinate evacuations, Scott?
Amanda, the number of Canadians who have registered with Global Affairs has swelled significantly since these latest strikes began on Saturday. Now close to 100,000 people that Global Affairs are tracking in the Middle East. So right now, the advice to Canadians in the region is to leave by their own means. But we heard from the Foreign Affairs Minister saying that she's asked Oman for permission to access its airspace if necessary for Canadian citizens to get out. However, there's no current plan for Ottawa to coordinate evacuations. Here's more from the Foreign Affairs Minister.
Our top priority right now is the 100,000 Canadians that are in the region. And I was on the phone with foreign ministers of Gulf countries and Middle East countries all weekend. This is in between the meetings, making sure that there are possibilities for Canadians to have supports in those countries, including Oman this morning, who they still have, or had at the time of my conversation with the foreign minister, have airspace that is still viable. And so I requested use of that airspace if necessary.
And Amanda, we have previously reported Global Affairs says it has deployed a surge of consular support to certain countries in the region, including Israel, Jordan, and Turkey, to help Canadians in the meantime across the region, while the advice, as I mentioned, still is to get out by their own means.
Scott, thank you. CTV's Scott Hurst reporting live for us from our national newsroom in Toronto. Finally, back here in Atlantic Canada, a sign of the season. New Brunswick anglers, they've got less than 2 weeks to get their fishing shacks off the province's frozen waterways. March 15th is the deadline this year. Officials say it is an effort to help prevent garbage and other debris from ending up in the water as the temperatures rise. That said, anglers, they can still head onto the ice and cast a line until the end of the month. But when it comes to those shacks, March 15th is the deadline to get them out. I've been hearing a rumor we may get some double digits in the forecast coming up a little later.
Double-digit temperatures?
Yes.
Or snow totals?
I hope not snow totals.
Double digits today?
No, like later, like next week.
I mean, we're getting double digits in the negative as of tomorrow. Does that count? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah,
I want them above zero.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's still time to do this if the weather holds. There was an unusual competition in Maine over the weekend, the third and final. Oh, we're going to community calendar. We're not going to be able to show this. Okay, we'll save it to tomorrow.
Save it for another
You
one.
have to tune in tomorrow
Exactly.
to make sure you see what's happening over there. But what's happening here, well, we have lots going on. So you still have time to take part in the Fundy Winterfest all across St. John. Come out and experience the very best of the community during the frosty season from now until March 8th. So many activities will take place, such as trail walks, snowshoeing, outdoor sledding, skating, and so much more. Visit the website for more details. And the Golden Girls are back tonight at 7 p.m. The laughs continue at the Confederation Center of the Arts in Charlottetown. So grab your tickets and enjoy the hilarious live show. And as we mentioned earlier in the show, the Center for Women in Business will host an International Women's Day breakfast celebration in Halifax this Friday. Head to the Marriott Harbourfront to enjoy a tasty meal and great conversation with diverse business owners. And to learn more, of course, you can head to their website. And if you have an event coming up, well, we want to know about it. So send us all those juicy details to Your Morning Atlantic at ctv.ca, and we will do our best to get them in the show.
Thanks, Brienne. And also, too, you could add this to your calendar, maybe a trip to Hong Kong. How would you like to win one? Well, you could. We'll get some must-see recommendations and tell you how to enter our brand new contest. Those details coming up next.
Good morning. It is 8:43, 9:13 if you're in Newfoundland and parts of Labrador. As we take a look, yes, that sun is starting to poke through here in Halifax at the Amera Oval. Not a whole lot of skating going on right now, though, as those conditions might be a little bit slushy. Yes, we did start the day with some rain in the region. So after that snow came through, we had some rain and some freezing rain coming through behind it. So while that sun is starting to poke out, we are going to be dealing with some messier conditions as we head throughout the morning here, especially in the Maritimes. Now, as we take a look here, we are going to continue to see warmer temperatures throughout most of Nova Scotia. We are going to see a little bit of that system hanging around through eastern parts of Nova Scotia into Cape Breton, as well as eastern parts of Prince Edward Island before pushing itself into Newfoundland. A few flurries hanging around in parts of Labrador as well. As we take a look here, we do have one yellow level alert, and that is a cold warning. So there is an Arctic air mass coming through from western parts of the country, and we are going to continue to see cold temperatures tonight into the early hours of Thursday morning. So cold wind chills up to -50. So take that into consideration if you do have to get out and about today. Now, we are still seeing a few scattered rainfall and freezing rain, wintry mixes coming through the course of this morning in parts of New Brunswick. But for the most part, that's going to continue to move out of the region as we head later into the afternoon. A few scattered flurries coming up back into northern parts of New Brunswick. Then that's going to impact into other parts of the Maritimes as we head into the early hours of Thursday morning. But not a whole lot of accumulated snowfall is going to be tracked as we head through the next 24 hours. So like I said, a little bit up in northern parts of New Brunswick, and then the majority is going to be over in Cape Breton Island, where that system is going to hang around for a little bit this morning, as well as over in Newfoundland. As we take a look at our forecast today, pretty nice temperatures. We're ranging from 4 degrees to 8. We are going to continue to see some of that sun popping through after those flurries clear out, and then a few scattered flurries over the course of the evening. We are seeing pretty much 4 to 3 degrees over on Prince Edward Island, with a few scattered flurries throughout the course of the morning, ranging from 7 to 1 degrees over in eastern parts of Nova Scotia. And then as we head west, we are seeing a little bit warmer conditions, as well as a little bit of rain hanging around throughout the course of this morning. Now, cooler up in northern parts of Labrador, and of course, we are continuing to see some colder temperatures settling into that area, as well as those flurries as we head throughout the day. But if you're looking for a trip, well, we've got one for you.
If you are in need of a new adventure, why not take a trip to Hong Kong? There are so many beautiful sights to see across this vibrant city. You can get outside, explore, and soak in the culture. To learn more about this once-in-a-lifetime trip and what it could look like for you, we welcome Chrissy Van with our partners at the Hong Kong Tourism Board. Good morning, Chrissy.
Good morning.
Well, we're very excited to hear about Hong Kong a little further. So tell us what your journey was like.
Well, that's the beauty, honestly. The journey was in the initial travel. We all know air travel sometimes, long flight. You're like, I want this to be quick. Not when you travel with Cathay Pacific. The food on board was incredible. I think it was the one time where I was like, I could stay here a little longer. They have a ton of traditional eats, excellent service. So you arrive to the destination rested. And then I hopped over to the Park Lane Hotel, which was beautiful in the heart of Causeway Bay. So you have the vibrant, bustling city of Hong Kong at your doorstep. If you want to do some shopping, hit a rooftop bar. And then at the same time, you're across the street from Victoria Park. So if you're needing to stretch the legs, take a little scenic walk in nature, that's also right at your doorstep.
This sounds like a trip of a lifetime, and you kind of showed there in that video that the vibrant city skyline. So tell us about what surprised you the most about the outdoor spaces there.
Well, I am a West Coast woman, and I'm used to frolicking in the outdoors, and exactly that. You think of Hong Kong, and it does have this incredible skyline to take in day or night. However, you're also at the doorstep of incredible outdoor experiences. So the Peak Tram, dating back to 1888, you can go all the way up. Beautiful green skyline to enjoy. But one of my favorite and most surprising were the beach destinations. So I went to a fishing village called Sai Kung. Amazing seafood, by the way, and I know we're going to be talking about the food. But from there, you can take a little boat over to places like Sharp Island, where the water is turquoise, the sand is incredible. There's tons of rich cultural history happening all at the same time. So a true feast for the senses for the outdoor lovers. And I think that's what's great about Hong Kong. You get the balance of vibrant city life, but when you are looking to slow down, which I think is important on any vacation that we're well overdue for, you have all of that available to you to really get immersed in nature. So great for the hiker, the swimmer, the surfer, or the beach lounger.
Something for everyone, which we love. So when it comes to the cuisine, like you mentioned, what is something that stood out for you in terms of the dining experience?
Well, you and I were talking before we hopped on here, and you asked when I was there last. November 2024, I think I'm still working off some of the dumplings. I was just so impressed by the traditional experiences, like going to a traditional tea house where you do get that dumpling experience. It's a little bit of a chaotic atmosphere in the best way. And then in the same breath, you can spend the afternoon at a Michelin-rated restaurant like Wing, where you're having this elevated Cantonese cuisine, or hop to the street in a in a market where you can be sampling left and right, which I did because you have to do the due diligence, or a Dai Pai Dong where you see the fire just bursting from the meal they're making for you street side. So whether you're just in a plastic table and chairs on the side of the road getting traditional eats to the most elevated experiences, I can tell you one thing for sure, you won't be able to do everything in one trip. You're going to be booking the return just for the eats alone.
I could only imagine. Well, thank you so much for filling us in, Chrissy.
Thank you.
Sounds like a trip of a lifetime. So that was Chrissy Van with our partners at the Hong Kong Tourism Board.
All right, now it's time for you to win your chance to go to Hong Kong.
Yes, this prize includes round-trip flights on Cathay Pacific 4 luxurious nights at the Park Lane, Hong Kong. Let me tell you, it is luxurious. $1,000 spending money and a 3-day pass granting access to over 20 amazing attractions. So there are night markets, there are temples, there are so many different types of cuisine, and you can just get on board and get to Hong Kong because it's a fabulous time.
It's a fabulous place. It's really one of those bucket list cities that I think everybody should get to visit. So enter by going to ctvatlantic.ca or use that QR code to bring you right to the contest page. And yeah, good luck to you. We hope you win.
And when you win, bring us.
Yeah, please. All right,
we're back.
We're right back after this to wrap up the show.
The #1 morning show in Halifax. Turk, Megan, and Amateur Alex. And home to the biggest artists. Halifax's #1 hit music station. 101.3 Virgin Radio.
Welcome back. We're inching closer to the spring season, had us thinking about spring cleaning, so we thought we would ask, what's a household chore that you really enjoy doing? You get pleasure from it. Here's what you had to say. Began with this viewer, Nancy from Paradise, Nova Scotia. One household chore that I really enjoy is to sweep and mop my floors, as I can't handle my white socks turning garden colors or listening to a pebble being kicked around for a spell in the home. I also enjoy the scent of my favorite household cleaners. Makes a person feel good, well, when you're done.
Nancy, hallelujah. I hear you. I hear you on all of that.
Yeah, that's the worst when your socks turn garden colors.
We've got a ton of these, too, by the way.
Oh, so many. Laura from Falmouth, I actually love to do is hanging clothes on the line and then taking them off and folding as they come off. So satisfying. Can't wait for the weather to improve so I can do this.
See, if I had a clothesline, I would agree.
Yeah.
Like, then I wouldn't mind folding.
Yeah, we got to go faster, I guess, because it's a ton of these. The smell of the clothes on the line, too. Okay, I love doing a deep cleaning on my floors. This steam cleaning, actually, because good clean floor just feels so good on bare feet. Yes, Candace.
Ain't that the truth?
Hallelujah, yes.
It's so true. Anthony is funny. I enjoy vacuuming and then hearing my wife tell me how many spots I missed afterwards.
Anthony, you're not alone.
No, for you. But that's that, yeah. Okay, this is, oh gosh. Okay, yeah. This is going to be a bit over the top, but I love alphabetizing things, says Kathy. I did my husband's record collection, and for his Valentine's Day gift, I did over 1,700 CDs.
What?
Wow. There you go.
That's wild. Good for you, Kathy. Donna from St. John, I love to sweep and wash all my floors in my apartment. I open the windows, even in the winter, put on my earbuds, and off I go. It's funny, too, that when I was younger, like Crystal, these things were not a priority.
Fair. Fair enough.
Love that, Donna. We are 2 peas in a pod.
Jennifer, St. John, my favorite and only chore I like to do would be cleaning the bedding. Nothing like getting into a bed with freshly washed linen.
Agreed.
Oh, Jennifer.
Agreed.
It's one of life's great pleasures.
When you wash your hair and you wash your sheets.
Oh, my favorite.
Yeah.
Sean from Lake Loon, the household chore I enjoy is mowing the lawn. I feel good about the nice, even lines, never cut willy-nilly. And it's my only private quiet time where I can listen to music for an hour or so in my own little world.
Oh, my gosh. Sean, we love your energy. When I asked Sean where he was from at watching, he said, I'm from Lake Loon, and I'll be watching till the snow melts.
I love it.
And then he's out there. And this is funny. Judy from PEI says, writing the honey-do list. That's her favorite chore.
Judy. Oh my gosh, so much fun.
I love it. Growing up, my dad used to vacuum the pool, and we would ask if he wanted us to do it, and he was like, no, I'll do it. And so we'd always bring him beers while he vacuumed the pool, and then he got his hour to himself without having to deal with the 4 daughters. So.
Oh my gosh. And then you were there to help him.
Well, we were there to give him a beer.
Yeah.
That's a help, right?
Good motivation.
Oh my gosh, well, that's our show for today. Thank you for all your responses. We couldn't get to them all today. There were so many, but gosh, enjoy the day. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow, 6 a.m. on the Thursday edition of our show.
Bye.